Hello and welcome to the Model Talks. For those of you that have not watched our introductory episode yet, I'm your host, Charlene Radlin. On our first episode, we meet New York agency sign model Niki Christine. Niki shares insight on how growing up as a dancer has provided her with a disciplined work ethic and how she uses that to her advantage in her career as a model. She also touches upon her appreciation for finishing school first and the shocking reality she experiences when people in the industry are taken aback when models speak up about social and current events. So you were born in Santa Barbara, California.
I was.
When did you move to New York?
About 7 years ago for school.
For school.
Yeah.
What did you study?
I studied dance, so I've danced my entire life for the past 20 years.
Wow, 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah, I moved away from home to go to boarding school at 14
Wow.
in Virginia, and then came straight up to New York after that.
Okay. How was boarding school?
Amazing. I mean, people...
Really? Amazing?
Yeah.
Because when you think of boarding school, you want to freak out. You're like, I'm sorry that happened to you.
You're like, what'd you do to
Yeah.
get sent away?
Yeah.
No. I actually sat my parents down with informational videos about dance schools, and I was like, I want to go to one of these.
Wow. So you were the one that was like, I need to go here. It
Yeah.
wasn't your parents kind of punishing you, so
No.
to speak. Okay, great.
Yeah.
What type of dancing do you do?
Mostly ballet.
Okay.
I liked the really structured stuff, which kind of drove me nuts.
It's a good type of discipline.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, and boarding school was the most awesome way to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, my parents were a little overbearing and pretty strict, so I mean, they gave me good morals and things. I love my parents, but
right.
being able to grow up on my own was pretty awesome.
I think that's very mature, even as a young age, to be like, Mom and Dad, we need to have a talk. I want to go to boarding school. I'm going to be amazing at what I do.
I think they were kind of like,
who are you?
Okay,
no,
yeah.
they were like, we're doing something right, obviously, because our child's taking the initiative to do this.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I remember my dad saying something like, I wish I had a passion when I was that young. You
Wow.
know? I mean, he's an accountant, he's very businesslike.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of, took the steps to do everything right and get that good career, which is awesome. But I was never, I was too artsy and creative to do anything like that.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how does your ballet help you in modeling, so to speak?
I mean, it's definitely shaped the person that I am. Just the discipline, like we were saying,
Yeah.
putting yourself in a dance studio for 8 hours a day at 14 is
Did you compete at all?
No.
Okay.
No, so it was that whole world was kind of foreign to me.
Yeah.
I was a little ballerina, buns
Yeah,
and tights,
I love it.
all day, every day. But it definitely instills the most amazing work ethic, I think, ever. More because there's no set goal. There's no perfect, there's only progress.
Okay.
Which progress, not perfection. You
Right,
know, is always
right.
the
That's their
the good motto. But
Okay.
it is really working on the progress and really focusing on yourself and just taking each day as it comes and knowing that little steps are going to be taken, but you're not going to see the results for months. And having patience to be able to work like that is
right. And definitely beneficial for modeling because we know everything doesn't happen overnight. So you have to be very, very patient in this career.
Yeah.
Because if not, you'll kind of drive yourself crazy.
Totally.
So to speak.
Yeah.
Did you never want to do something more go on Broadway or, the Nutcracker or be a ballerina of that sense?
I mean, obviously when I was little, definitely.
Okay.
As I grew up, I kind of realized that I didn't love being on the stage as much as I loved just working in the studio and how ballet made my body feel.
Okay.
I would get a little nervous going on stage, so I
Really?
couldn't necessarily enjoy it as much as I think I should have. And I realized that as I was graduating college and auditioning for companies, I did audition for about 6 months after I graduated.
Wow. Okay.
For professional dance companies, and it's just my heart's not really in this. I'm going to dance for the rest of my life, but it's not going to be on a stage.
Okay.
And that's when I started modeling.
How did that transition kind of happen?
Well, I modeled for a dance magazine.
Okay,
so
awesome.
I was doing like, little workouts and like in my leotard.
Right, showing off that great body that you got.
Another way dances helped me like tremendously.
Right.
But yeah, so I modeled for a dance magazine.
Okay.
And just loved it.
Okay. Wait, how old were you?
This was in college, so I was like 21.
Okay, nice.
My senior year, yeah. And yeah, I really loved it. And like the magazine came out, and I was like so proud of it. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then
this was in California?
No, this was in New York.
This was in New York. Okay.
So when I graduated from Marymount Manhattan College.
Okay.
Yeah, I just really liked it, and so I kind of started pursuing that on my own and started, just networking and finding photographers that I wanted to shoot with and like trying to build a little portfolio.
Where did you find all those photographers? Because I mean, now we have Instagram, and you know what I mean. It's not as easy.
It wasn't that long ago, so.
Right. But it was kind of like booming.
It was still kind of new. Yeah,
definitely.
It's a good question. I mean, I found all those like casting networks websites and things, and I started doing like extra work on TV shows and meeting a lot of people that way. And then, I mean, in the dance world, it kind of has started to meld. Like, I worked with some dance photographers, and then they would have friends that they could refer me to, and then I started shooting with
So you
small designers and stuff like that. And just kind of
do you do like runway at all, or?
Not too much.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I would love to, but not yet.
Alrighty.
I always thought I was too short, but I'm not letting that thought of my mind anymore. 5'8".
Okay.
So, I mean,
short in modeling
yeah.
world, but not really short everywhere else.
Right.
You know.
I know when I say that to normal people, they're like, pretty sure that.
But I'm like 5'2".
Yeah.
Like, what?
No, I would love to do runway, but right now I'm doing a lot of commercial work.
How do you feel about that?
Into more. I mean, I love it. It pays the bills and it's great.
Right.
It's really fun work. You're just smiling and laughing all day, and it's usually a really great crew. But the reason I got into modeling was more for the creative side of it.
Okay.
So more editorial, fashion, really making images that can portray an emotion, not just a face.
Right. Which helps with ballet, being able to know that you can kind of do that.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably one of the most important things that ballet has given me in modeling is just to be able to take an emotional cue and be able to trust my body to be able to portray that and not really have to think about it.
Right.
Because when I was in dance school, we'd have improvisational classes where that is literally what we did. Is they would give you emotions and feelings and like how would you move if something.
Right.
And I mean, I'm not doing exactly those movements in front of the camera, obviously. It might get a little weird, but you can use a little bit of that, and you can kind of just let it in and be able to feel that.
Right.
And I definitely think that comes across.
Yeah. Do you ever talk about what you do on set? Because like sometimes I know when you're on set, it's kind of like you're just a pretty face, and then that's it. Do you ever have moments where they're kind of shocked that you do other things other than modeling?
100%.
Okay. All right.
I feel like, especially on like more high-profile gigs, they're used to working with. I mean, this is a generalization, but there are a lot of girls that come into this industry at like 16 and they don't go to college. Which, I went to college and I started modeling after that, so I think I had a better sense of self and sense of confidence in my work and who I am before I even started in this industry.
Right.
So yeah, I think on set, sometimes I'll hear the crew talking about like current events or something, social issue, anything, and I'll chime in, and they kind of
wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a brain?
Yeah.
You have thoughts?
I'm like, yeah, I can talk about things, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and it's really interesting when I get those moments of them being surprised.
Does it kind of make you feel, are you a little dumbfounded by it at times? Do you kind of just look at them like, what do you, like, did you really just think, or who are you actually working with that doesn't have a sense, if anything, It's
a little sad. I mean, yeah, if they're used to working with these people that are you know, they don't really think of as people,
Right.
then that's kind of a problem in itself. And I think that is a problem with how the world looks at models is they think you just sit in front of a camera and look pretty, and you're not necessarily treated as a person, more as like a thing. I don't know.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
terrible,
yeah,
but you know, they
yeah.
don't think of your brain when they look at a picture.
Right.
You know, they think of your pretty face and your amazing body and like all the pretty clothes you're wearing and this lavish life, not necessarily your intelligence. And
Right.
that kind of sucks at times.
Do you think that modeling is kind of like lavish all the time? Because I know that sometimes it
Like
can come
100%
across that
not.
it is. 100% not. Okay.
I mean, yeah, obviously there are those times when you get to travel for work and
Right.
you stay in a hotel and it's amazing and you like feel
Right.
like a princess.
Right.
But no, I mean, it's a hustle, and
Yeah.
the amount of rejection you get is like pretty ridiculous. And you know,
How do you
It's
handle the
hard.
rejection part of it? Like, how do you go into a casting kind of thinking, okay, I went to this casting, cool, and you forget about it? Or do you kind of like, oh my God, I want this so badly, you know? Are you that type of person?
there's kind of I don't know.
Okay.
I get excited about things.
Okay.
When I feel really confident and I'm like, yeah, I think my look is what they would use. You know, I try not to get too excited about things because you know there's like 1,000 million other models out here.
Right.
But
Right.
you know, when I feel great about a casting, it's hard not to get your hopes up. But I feel like I've had enough experience that you know you can't get.
What do you do?
Too
Do you
excited.
think that like separates you from the other models? Like when you go into a casting, you know, like you're beautiful. Yes, we know you can hold a conversation, but that initial when you walk in, what do you try to do that can set you apart?
I feel like it's honestly, this is like so cliche, but just being yourself. Because I
Okay.
remember this one casting, like I booked a Coke ad.
Nice.
And I walked in and I was so tired, like I had just come back from vacation and was like kind of jet lagged, like was not really feeling, you know, I usually kind of like psych myself up for them. And
Right,
like,
right.
this, I was like, okay, well, you know, like here we go. And just kind of walked in there and like did not have the energy to put on a show.
Right.
And so I was myself, you know, I was
Right.
so natural. I was,
Right.
you know, I was me, and I booked the job. And
I love how you're like kind of shocked by it too.
yeah, well, I was at the time. I was like, wow, I really didn't put that much thought into that. I really was myself.
Right.
And that was kind of a wake-up call. I was like, okay, so not like, yeah, I don't need to try,
Right,
but,
right,
you know,
right.
it's like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. They don't want to see a show if they, you know, they wanted that, they would have like actors and like people. that-
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
They want, I think the industry is definitely steering towards, they want a personality, and like with social media, it's like,
Right.
you need to be something different.
Was that like your most fun job you think you've done with the Coca-Cola?
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
It was pretty fun?
Yeah.
What did you have
I mean,
to
you're
do?
just like drinking Coke all day and smiling.
That's a great
and, like,
gig, right?
Yeah. We were on like a farm in Connecticut, and so there was
Nice.
like baby goats and chickens,
Oh.
and I'm like animal freak, so.
Okay, right, because you
Super
have
excited.
cats, and you
Yeah,
you kind of want to
cat
be
lady.
you kind of want to be on a farm with all your cats.
100% goals. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
What do you
surrounded by
see?
animals.
What do you see yourself doing out, like, other than modeling?
I mean, I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the industry, and I would love to do something else in the industry, but then I could also see myself going to like nursing school or like, you know, like I really love to write.
Okay.
So I'd love to go into like journalism or something like that, and that could totally be tied into the fashion industry.
Right.
But I don't know. I've never had like a 5 or 10 year plan. I just kind of like to. I feel like that puts too much pressure on myself.
Right.
To, I don't know. I see people that have those, and then they can't accept change when it comes. And so I just kind of like to let it flow.
Kinda go
And I
with it
change
the
my
most.
mind like every day.
Okay.
So it's like tomorrow I want to be a nurse, but you know, it's modeling right now. So
Next week you'd be like, I don't really know what I was thinking about being a nurse. I don't really want to do that whatsoever.
I definitely want to go back to school at some point. I love to learn, and like
Anything in
there's so much out there.
specifically, or?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to make sure that I'm like 100%
Right.
on what I want to do
Right.
before I go back to school, but we'll see.
Okay, so how is your diet for modeling? Like, would you say that you're strict on a diet? Have you ever been strict on a diet? Because I know you dabble with being vegan.
Yeah.
Because on your Instagram,
Yeah.
you're kind of about that vegan life. Every now
It's
and
only
then.
been a couple weeks, but yeah. No, it's really interesting. I mean, when I was younger, everyone I know tells me I'm like the pickiest eater.
Okay.
But I think I've branched out.
Nice.
Definitely gotten more
Picky
variety.
As in not no vegetables or
like,
picky?
I ate white food when I was a child.
Okay.
Like pasta, cheese, bread. Like that was pretty much it.
All right.
No,
big
but
change.
yeah,
to
huge
what you
change.
eat now.
What really was like a mind opener. I mean, I've danced my whole life, so it was like I was getting so much exercise that I didn't need to worry about what I was eating.
Okay.
I mean, and when you're younger, you can kind of you're
Eat
like
whatever
at
you want.
disposal, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, when I graduated college and I was like, you know, not dancing as much, I was like, okay, you know, something's got to change.
Right. All of a sudden you look down and you're like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Right.
Or you just don't feel as good. That's really what it is I realized once I started eating more like greens and vegetables and, you know, fruits, and I just felt better. Felt lighter. I had way more energy. I mean, that's like what everyone says, but it's true.
You genuinely felt that way.
Totally. I've never been a huge like meat fan, so I usually only eat like fish and chicken, turkey.
Okay.
But yeah, recently I watched this documentary.
Oh boy.
It wasn't like one of those shocking, like scarring movies, but it was really like informational. It was all these scientists talking about how we don't really need animal products to be like have a healthy diet.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're like, there's a common misconception that you can't get protein if you don't eat meat, and that's really not true. So I don't know. I dabbled with veganism just honestly to see if I could do it.
Okay.
And I could.
All right, that's
So,
good. Good for you.
that's something.
Good for you.
But I really love cheese, so I don't think it's gonna last
That's
forever.
fine. You don't think it's gonna last forever?
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay.
But it definitely like made me branch out into like different veggies and like things that I wouldn't have tried if I were not doing that.
Right.
But yeah, I like to eat and I like food and I like sweets, so I kind of just try and, you know, eat healthy portions, eat healthy food in general, and then work out.
What's the substitution for meat? Because I love meat. So I'm like...
That's what everyone asks. I'm like, I don't really have a substitution for it. I just like, it's definitely, you know, when I was eating meat, it was like meat, veggie, like sweet potatoes or like something. And now it's like, I've got 10 things on my plate.
Oh,
it's
wow.
not like the staples. It's more of variety, or at least that's what I'm doing. That's
it's a lot more colorful of a plate.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
There, right.
I'm like, if I've got all the colors,
right,
we're
you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But no, I have like the craziest sweet tooth in the world. So I like indulge for sure.
Really?
But then I like to work out. So
yeah. Well, you do your ballet still. Do you do it in New York or?
Yeah, there are like 1,000 dance studios around the city.
Okay.
They have just like open adult classes, which is really awesome because you can just go in and like nobody's judging you. Like there are ladies that are like 60 years old in there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Goals. I know.
Goals.
Seriously.
Yeah, so I do that as often as possible. It gets a little expensive, but yeah, I have a gym membership, so I go to the gym. I get my cardio and weights.
Right.
But I like to do Pilates and yoga. And,
all that stuff.
All that good stuff.
Well, maybe this will help with like your getting more editorial stuff out there.
Yeah.
You know, because then you'd be like, I can contour and do
Totally.
all these
Totally.
crazy moves.
Yeah.
You know, that I can't do. So I commend you on that. I'll do the smiles and the Coca-Cola ads all day. You know,
yeah.
Not really about
No, it's definitely fun when I get to like be on set and they're like, all right, we want something weird or like interesting or shapes or something. I'm like, sweet.
You're like, yes.
Yeah. Like,
finally.
Give me free reign and I'll take it.
This is my moment.
Oh yeah, for sure. It feels good.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So what would you say for a model starting? What advice would you give her? Because you started older, which is crazy to me because you started when you were 21, 22, which is not old by any means, But what would you say starting out in modeling, what advice would you give?
That's a good one. I mean, I know everyone asks that, but I feel like the industry is just so different now with like social media and everything. Like there are girls all over the country who like think they're models just because they have like 100,000 followers on Instagram. But I mean, definitely talking to agencies and seeing where you fit in the market is a good start. I feel like I kind of did like a roundabout way of getting into the industry.
Yeah.
But once I did like find my agency, it kind of gave me like a starting point. Like I'm not 5'11" and like rail thin, so I wasn't gonna walk into a high fashion agency and be like, hey, I've never modeled before. But I started with my commercial agency, and now I feel like, I mean, the industry is definitely more like accepting to different body types now for high fashion, but just having that base of where I felt really strong and really confident to build from there. Has been good. Yeah.
So kind of starting small is essentially what it is.
I think if you spread yourself too thin, then it just gets super overwhelming and like. I mean, I do want to do everything, but I think having that base. Is like
have a family,
steady place to expand from.
And sometimes some girls don't even want to start in a smaller agency because they just think, oh, I don't want to start in somewhere, but it could be really beneficial for you.
I mean, you create a little family. If you're really close with your booker, then that's awesome. You have like a mentor and a therapist there. And even if they don't want to be that, it's
a part of what they're
part of the job title. But no, it's a great place to start, to know you have someone that actually cares about you and like knows who you are, instead of walking into IMG and
and then they're
being I don't even know how many girls I have. But,
like
you could get lost.
Exactly. Sometimes it's better to have only being on a roster that's only 20 girls versus 120 girls.
It's like nothing's permanent. Like, you're with them for a year and then you go somewhere else. Like, I don't know. Hopefully you don't, but hopefully you like them enough that you don't, but you know what I mean. It's like, to have that baseline is really important, I think.
Do you think in modeling, because our lives are very like, 1 minute we're here, 1 minute here, do you think it's hard to develop relationships with people just like as friends? And do you think that's a challenge?
I think so. And it's also, I mean, even though it shouldn't be super competitive because everybody's got a different look, it is. I don't have many model friends. Like, I have a select few that are genuine people and not like caught up in the industry. And there are a lot of people that, I don't know, they just want to make it. You know what I mean?
So they'll do whatever it takes. Type of thing.
I don't know. I mean, that's fine. There are people that they are gonna be super successful. But I've always been the person that has like 5 really close friends rather than like 20 kind of average friends. Like I want to build a relationship that's gonna last for more than 5 years. And I don't have
but
enough
those 5
energy
friends,
to like socialize.
Are they in modeling or are they more outside of the world of modeling?
Dancers.
I
have my boyfriend.
Hey,
He's not in the modeling world at all. But he's an artist, so it's,
What does he do?
He paints.
He
went to school for sculpture, so he does that too, but recently it's been painting.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So that's fun.
How did you guys meet?
We actually met at home. He went to high school with my sister. So
amazing. All right. So your sister like hook it up type of thing? Was she got it.
No, she didn't. Got it. No, I mean she was supportive. It's fine. But, we met at home, and then he kind of just bought a one-way ticket out here. And
amazing. And it's been love ever since. Happily ever after.
He's a cat man. I'm a cat lady. We're
great. There you go. You're like, we are meant to be.
It's
there
perfect.
You go. Do you ever have moments where he almost like won't take you as serious for what you do as your career, or he's very, very like your biggest cheerleader? He's
definitely my biggest cheerleader. Definitely a lot of moral support when I need it. You know what I mean? But I mean, he gets what I do, but there are definitely some days when he's like, you got paid what to do what? Like a Coca-Cola ad. Seriously.
I drank 10 bottles of Coca-Cola and you got a nice little check in the mail.
No, but I obviously talk about work all the time and like how much I love what I'm doing, so he definitely knows
Which is
how much
great.
effort I put into it, at least, that I'm not just like sitting on the couch waiting for someone to call me for work. But
Right, because
I'm
you're
actively
proactive
out
yourself, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, that's good, and it's something that's very important, I think, in the industry. And I think also what helps is that he's kind of in the arts field as well, so he totally understands. It's not that far fetched from what he does, where he's kind of like, you're not going to do anything today. You're just going to do your ballet, and that's it. You know, sometimes people with more of like a 9-to-5, they don't really understand that type of lifestyle, if anything.
Completely.
Would you say that it's for everyone, this lifestyle, or
no? I mean, it's stressful. Like, I don't know what I'm doing next week. You know, it's like everything's so last minute that if you're not ready to like pick up and go somewhere, or like able to be not be stressed and be patient and like know that you're not going to know what you're doing next week or next month or something, then great. But I don't think everybody can do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Missy. So we're going to wrap this up. It was such
great.
a pleasure to chat with you, get to know a little bit more about your world and what
so
you
fun.
do. Alrighty? So we're outie. Bye.